But it was a tweet by the Fine Gael party last night that, well, caught my own attention and the attention of an awful lot of other people. If you're not on Twitter and you haven't seen it, just to describe it to you, if you can imagine a red alarm sign with capital letters warning and another big red alarm emoji, and then the tweet goes on to read, it's vital that you vote Geoghegan to keep a Fine Gael seat in Dublin Bay South. There's less than 1 hour to go, and then it talks about all of the different hashtags. And then the picture is this big mustard yellow background with what I describe as kind of crime scene tape across the top and the bottom of it, and then in big black bold writing you've got big Sinn Féin turnout being reported, don't let Sinn Féin in by staying at home, vote Geoghegan at number 1. And the don't let the Sinn Féin in part is even done in a kind of a black bold background. And there was a lot of criticism levelled towards Fine Gael last night on social media when this tweet was posted. People giving their own views on it. It's 1890 453 106. We want to hear from you. What are your own thoughts on it today? Fine Gael councillor Paddy McCartan is with us on the programme. Paddy, was this tweet appropriate?
Well, Andrea, good afternoon. I think in the context of a by-election, there's many facets to the by-election, and in effect you use every tool in the box that you have to get out the vote. This was the intention of this, was to ensure to maximise the Fine Gael vote, which in effect, if we look at the figures, the Fine Gael vote did come out in the end. The analysis we'll have to do another day on what happened to the other parties, but we were concerned initially at the beginning of this campaign that the perception was that it would be between Fine Gael and Sinn Féin. The opinion poll changed that perspective. But towards the end of the campaign, it became apparent that Sinn Féin, who are excellent at getting out their vote, and we expected this at the latter stages of the campaign. So the attempt was to galvanise the support of those Fine Gael voters who hadn't come out. That was the purpose of it.
Doesn't seem to have worked, though, does it, when you look at the reaction on social media?
Well, there's social media, but the figures we've seen from the tallies that the Fine Gael vote is almost exactly the same as it was in the general election. And in fact, the Sinn Féin vote is also going to be about the same as it was in the general election. So, you use every tool at your command to maximise your vote, because at the beginning of the campaign, we were talking about apathy and talking about a turnout of between 30 and 35%. It now looks as if it was closer to 40. So all these different methods of galvanising support, and Sinn Féin have their methods as well. So,
yeah, but to be fair though, Councillor Paddy, like, it has been described as extremely distasteful. And my own view when I saw it last night, I mean, it just struck me the bang of desperation of it, with the warning emojis. That was my reaction when I saw it last night. Panic.
Well, I to be frank, Andrea, I have not received any negative responses to it myself.
Well, are you on social media? There's hundreds of replies to this.
Yeah, but I personally haven't received any that I would usually get in terms of negativity. I mean, this is a by-election. You do try to maximise your franchise, and the perception was in the beginning, as I said, that Sinn Féin were possibly going to win this seat. But then when the opinion poll indicated otherwise, there was a slackening of interest amongst our supporters, and we knew that Sinn Féin would perform better than their opinion poll rating. And as I said, you use every tool in the box to galvanise support.
Pat Fitzgerald is a Sinn Féin councillor and is on the line. Well, Pat, what did you make of this tweet now last night?
My understanding of an election is to get as many people out to vote as possible. And for a Fine Gael councillor to put up a tweet like that, I believe is absolutely disgraceful.
Well, we don't know. I don't know actually. Just to say, I don't know if it was a Fine Gael councillor. It was from the Fine Gael party, their own Twitter account. We don't actually know who posted it. But irrespective of that, was someone within Fine Gael.
it came from within the Fine Gael household anyway. But look, I think it's absolutely disgraceful. Like, I think everybody is entitled to vote, and if they're not entitled to be scrutinised by an opposing political party, if that's if indeed they believe that those people that actually voted early were actually going to vote for Sinn Féin, maybe not. But like to put up something like that is a throwback to another era when we didn't have democracy. You know.
How do you know how people are going to vote?
You don't basically, but like you can only go by what they tell you, and I suppose you can have a look at the figures afterwards, and you can say, well, yes, that's basically what we were expecting. You know, to something like obviously a lot of people are very protective of their right to vote, and they're not going to divulge what way they're going to vote anyway, you know, so that's people's right.
When it says big Sinn Féin turnout being reported, don't let Sinn Féin in by staying at home, Pat, I have a couple of texts in here from listeners who felt that it was a sign of contempt for the working class and not just Sinn Féin.
Oh yeah, but but you're looking like they have always discriminated against Sinn Féin voters and the working class. Really, Fine Gael, like that wouldn't be anything new. But just really, you know. Like even going back to their roots in the 30s and what have you, like, you know, that's the way Fine Gael behaved, and the leopards don't change their spots, like they're still the same, and there's no difference.
Paddy McCartan, do you accept?
I'm not going to take any lectures from Sinn Féin in terms of democracy. Fine Gael was the party that founded this state and has worked consistently. In fact, one of the, prior to Gareth Fitzgerald, Declan Costello was an advocate of towards a just society. It's unfortunate that Fine Gael have not been in power enough to implement some of those policies that would have given us possibly a fairer society. But I think given what has happened in the pandemic, you can now say we have a much larger state, that a lot of the policies that are being adopted by Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil and the Greens in government would find favour with the people on the left. This is probably the most left-wing government in the history of the state because of the pandemic.
I have a text in here, Pat Fitzgerald, for you from a listener who says, this texter in 53106 is just making the point that, look, this is all part of modern world politics, and those working in the social media department of Fine Gael know that there are people who don't listen to radio or don't watch the news and don't read newspapers, but they consume their politics and policies online and on social media. This is generated at them. Sinn Féin will likely be doing the same next time round.
Well, look, I don't think we have never resorted to that type of slur on a section of our population. Like we'd be hoping that people from all across the divide would vote for Sinn Féin, and like that's really what's starting to happen. And I think that's why Fine Gael was getting so concerned, and Fianna Fáil for that matter. You know, we attract votes from everywhere because of our policies. Our policies make sense. And to say that Fine Gael has created equal opportunities for everybody, like the other speaker has just said there, is totally untrue. Fine Gael has been in power for 9 and 11 years now, and the housing crisis have got worse. There's more people on the streets than ever. People can't afford a house, they can't afford a mortgage, they can't get a mortgage. If they could get a mortgage, they can't find a house to buy.
We talk about those
you're
policies.
Talking about equality, it's equality for rich people, like that Fine Gael seems to be batting for all the time.
Right.
And really, you know, we don't. We're not seeing this equality that Fine Gael has produced for the last 11 years.
What about these tweets?
Non-existent.
What about these tweets, Pat? These texts, I should say. This texter says, "Sure, Sinn Féin spend their life putting out videos of Pierce Doherty attacking Leo Varadkar. Alex has got in touch to say, are Sinn Féin working class? Can we get statistics on what percentage of Sinn Féin voters describe themselves as working class?"
Well, I would describe myself as working class. Like, I'm not a landowner. I'm not a large business person. Like, quite a lot of business people are working class, you know. and come from the working class, I would say that a classless society is what we would be hopefully heading for, and a society that would have equal opportunities for everybody.
And that
wouldn't
text
be just wealthy people that could afford to go to university or go to the best universities, let's say, and people should be treated on their merit rather than on their wallet.
What about that text? What about that text, though, that talks about Sinn Féin politicians constantly attacking government politicians with videos on social media? Is this not the same thing as this tweet you're talking
that's
about
politics.
today?
That's politics in the chamber.
But isn't that though? That's
absolutely
Paddy's
not.
point.
No, because I tell you why. This Fine Gael tweet attacked the public, the actual voter. And they are civilians in this. What we attack in the Dáil and attack on social media are people that are involved in the rough and tumble of politics. They're the soldiers of the politics, if you know what I mean. And this tweet actually attacked the civilian population, and that was totally out of order.
Should it be taken down, Paddy McCartan, the tweet?
Absolutely.